mental health, depending on what community, culture you're from, it can be defined differently. And I think where we all meet in the shop for me represents life. And life is saying that, listen, we all have fractures and we're all rare.
Thank you guys so much for taking the time to talk today. This movie gets a little intense and a little heavy, but I'd love to know what made you want to be a part of it. And Alan, if you want to start first.
Well, I like intense. And I thought this was a really beautiful script. And that was what really made me interested in it. And I think, you know, we're talking a lot today about mental health because this film is about people who have mental health issues in varying degrees. And I think that I just really liked, I was impressed, and it was refreshing to me to see a script that just dealt so openly with it, with that topic, and the notion that everyone is a bit broken, and but being broken makes you stronger and more beautiful if you are lucky enough to move through it.
I'm trying to remember the question now.
Oh, that's fine. Just what made you want to be a part of the movie?
Oh, that's layered. First is Katie, just her full development. You know, I knew her as that single lane actress, and now she's a director and a writer. When we first worked together, we did a Peter Hedges film, and one of the sort of brands that I took away from Peter, I'm adding to Katie, which is I feel like he writes beautifully. And I think Katie has this beauty that she's adding to film. And we were sharing earlier, it's not all the time you read a script or how odd it is to be like, oh, that's a beautiful project. And so it's, you know, it's a reward to be a part of something like that. You know, it's almost like living in the country. You know, you don't get a lot of land. A lot of people talk about that, but beauty is like that. You're like, man, I got land. I can stretch out. Yeah.
And Alan, do you have anything to add about working with Katie? Because I mean, she has literally got a lot of hats in this one.
I'm so impressed by her as not just in her work, but in her life, how she's conducted herself and how open and vulnerable she is, and yet strong as well. And she doesn't shirk away from discussing things that have happened to her that have contributed to who she is today. And I don't know, I'm so full of admiration for her. And also it's been great, you know, doing this film, is getting to know her better and becoming a really good friend with her too.
She's so good in this. I mean, you're also good in this, but she really, really impressed me, made me cry. So,
yeah.
But I would love to know, you talked a little bit about mental health already, Alan, but Derek, do you have anything to add? Just kind of what you hope people maybe take away from this, or what it inspires people who are struggling with this to do?
It's interesting because mental health, depending on what community, culture you're from, it can be defined differently. And I think where we all meet in the shop for me represents life. And life is saying that, listen, we all have fractures and we're all rare. And we need to become more familiar with each other. Julie is from, you know, more of where I grew up. And you may have grew up in more of a influential, but one thing that we share is the humanity, you know? And so, you know, I'm encouraged. What I'm encouraged about is that the beauty and the complexity of coming from different spaces, but sharing that brokenness.
That's number 3.
Wow.
Alan, do you have anything to add about kind of what you hope people who are struggling with this take away?
I mean, I think it's a really inspiring film. It's obviously very sad. It is a several hanky kind of thing, if you know what I mean. And I think what you come away with it is that perfection isn't it's something to be attained. It's actually, you know, you're more beautiful because you've been broken. And I think that's a really positive message. It just means live your authentic life, be who you are. Your experience is the most interesting thing about you. I just think it's got a really positive message without it being a kind of, when you say a positive message in a film, normally I think of kind of sort of uber smiley, slightly one of those, self-helpy kind of things. It's not that. It's about saying, look inside and be happy with what's there.
Thank you. That's my time, guys. I appreciate it. And then real quick, Alan, I've got to say, I'm really looking forward to The Traitor season 2, because that was such a fun show. I loved it.
Thank you very much.